The League of Ireland pod.
On Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the refreshingly alcohol-free Rockshore 00. Get the facts, be drink aware. Visit drinkaware.ie.
Well, you are welcome to the final LOI Pod of the week here on Off the Ball. The week 2025, I should say, the final one of 2025. Stephen here along with Vinny and Gareth, and I'm emotional, lads. The last time we chat, LOI for the year ahead of the new season. And I've been honest, I've been a blubbering wreck all week. Troy Parrott, Scotland last night. You know, three Bows legends leaving the club as well. It's been a very emotional week. How are you two bearing up after all the events of the last few days?
My only comment is you're better off being a lucky general than a good general. So I'd say.
Yeah, Vinny's.
We read into that, Vinny. What do you mean by that?
He's not backtracking on any of his controversial, scandalous remarks about Hamer Hallgrimsson. That's it.
No,
Hamer's God again.
They're all throwing bouquets around now for the time being.
I tell you, he was good. Do you know what? He got stuck into everyone last week, Gareth, except for Ronaldo. Oh my goodness, last week on the radio.
And look how that turned out.
You want to hear him throwing bouquets at Ronaldo. I swear, I thought he was looking for an invite to that dinner with Trump and Ronaldo and all the boys last night in Washington. You didn't get it, Vinny, did you?
I just couldn't make it, to be honest with you. I took the pictures.
Did you get your top signed at the Aviva by Ronaldo?
We had a coffee he was staying in the Radisson, so I met him for a coffee.
Well, listen, we might look into that one maybe later in the week, Vinny. The League of Ireland pod on Off the Ball is brought to you by Rockshore 00. Refreshingly alcohol-free. Always be drink aware and get the facts and visit drinkaware.ie. So we probably should start with a little bit of international stuff. We don't usually touch on it, but it is interesting, lads, when you go through the squads of both the senior team and the under-17s, which were both in the headlines this week. And look, anybody who listens to the show, they're League of Ireland fans, I'm sure, and don't need me to tell them. But we had 7 former League of Ireland reps on that senior squad who got those incredible results. The 2-0 against Portugal here in Dublin, and also the famous 3-2 win against Hungary in Budapest on Sunday. You got Jake O'Brien, formerly of Cork City, Sheamus Coleman, formerly Sligo Rovers, Liam Scales, ex-UCD and Shamrock Rovers, Chidozie Ogbenny, formerly of Limerick and Cork City, Ryan Manning, Merview United and Galway United, Johnny Kenny, Sligo Rovers and Shamrock Rovers, and Jamie McGrath, St Patrick's Athletic and Dundalk. And great achievement, lads, but it is great to see players who had that experience in the League of Ireland doing so well in the senior squad, Vinny.
No, it's brilliant. And I think I actually once scouted Ryan Manning for Dundalk, and I wasn't sure whether he was good enough or not. There you go.
Well, isn't it funny, because he does get an awful lot of hype, I feel. You see some of these, you know, the Irish fan accounts and that kind of stuff, and he's been hyped up a lot over the last couple of seasons. I feel like Ryan Manning, you know, maybe was lacking a little bit in his game, his overall game, for the last few seasons, but he seems to really developed into a very, very good player, and he's been really valuable to Hamer Hallgrimsson in this particular campaign.
Yeah, he played for Galway under Tommy Dunn, if I'm not mistaken, and he would have played as a number 10 a lot at that stage. You know, he was very, very good. But you got to remember, this is where it's difficult. Like, I was looking at someone, say, Jamie McGrath came into our squad not long after that. We'd Patrick McElhenney that could play there. We'd whether it was over the years, a lot of really top talented players, and I wasn't sure. Now he ended up moving away that summer. We wouldn't have got him, but I watched him twice live for Galway, and suddenly the report was like he was good. Like, it wasn't a bad report. I think at the time it was just, was he better than what we had? And probably not at the time. Actually, because it's an interesting thing. Sometimes it's hard. It's like the highest average age in the league over the last number of years is generally the champions, because it is hard to give youth a chance when you're trying to win a league sometimes, and people don't really understand that or don't like that. But it's not to say you can't. You look at Rovers have done it a bit over the last sort of 12 months because they're in a position of strength. So yeah, but go back to the lads that have come through, like whether it's Jamie, whether it's Ryan Manning, all of those lads. I think it's an outstanding story. I think that will continue. That will get bigger and bigger as the years go on because of Brexit. Yeah. We discussed that to an inch of his life, and as I try and always do, remember the main man that scored 5 goals came from Belleville, Steve.
Yeah.
Came from Belleville, and we can talk about all the funding we want, but them lads, what they do at clubs like Belleville, Cherry Orchard, Ringmat and Rangers shouldn't be forgotten as well. I know it's the League of Ireland pod, but the heart and soul of football in our country and the beginning of everything is those young clubs, those schoolboy clubs. By and large, they're the ones that set people on the pathway. And what Belleville did for Troy Parrott and what so many other clubs have done. I mean, the importance of Keevy and Kelleher, and his clubs were Ringmat and Rangers.
Yeah.
And then moved away. That can't be forgotten in all of this discussion. I touched on it in something else I did with Colin Buick, and people can see that, but they weren't part of that last lot of funding that the government have given Irish football. I think that's a mistake, but I think it's worth complimenting both. That's not taking nothing away from what League of Ireland is doing and its ability to give players a first chance.
And it is interesting, just quickly, Gareth, before because I didn't want to forget this on Belleville. Sorry, I will come to you, Gareth. It was interesting this week, and off the back of that brilliant Troy Parrott performance, they did actually announce Belvedere FC that they have taken a 99-year lease for the Alfie Byrne Road Community Sports Complex, and they've been, this is obviously something they've been working on for a fair number of months, it would seem, and they've got a lot of other community groups involved, other sports clubs involved, and something like that, I think, Vinny, is massive for a club like Belvedere to hopefully, and look, the schoolboy clubs can still, whatever's happening with the League of Ireland academies, they're still crucial to the lifeblood of Irish soccer.
Yeah, and before Gareth comes in, just to say, superstars aren't made from 14 onwards. They're made from 5 and 6. And that's when they start in nurseries, you can go to Malahide on a Sunday and there's 200 or 300 kids in the 2 or 3 Astros. For example, that's replicated throughout the whole country. So we shouldn't forget them. While we're throwing bouquets, as I said, at Irish football, at League of Ireland, at what we've done, and rightly so, shouldn't forget the people who are volunteers and what they do for so many kids early in the mornings. I think it's worth saying, and as you said, it's great news on Belleville.
Yeah, they actually, funny enough, Vinny, in the statement they released online, I thought this was interesting because they said volunteers from all clubs have dedicated the past 3 years to every phase of the project, from developing architectural and engineering plans, inviting input from other clubs and community groups, to engaging with local stakeholders, bringing together 20 different community groups. Every stage has been driven by voluntary efforts, with our clubs independently designing and developing the project, covering all planning, survey and study expenses, and preparing comprehensive business, operational and management plans. Like that just goes to highlight what you've just been saying.
Yeah, no, it's class. And I'm sure Gareth can replicate that through clubs up in Derry as well. But the volunteerism that goes on at the beginning of Irish football. And while I'm not suggesting that they get huge amount of money for full-time jobs, all that stuff, that would be great. That'd be the holy grail. But they shouldn't be forgotten by the government in any way, shape or form. The role they do, not just from a football point of view, but from a social point of view. Every morning on a Saturday, in so many teams across the country, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds get together, a group of mates, and play football out in the fresh air, and it's done by volunteers. You should never forget them. And we're lucky enough, like take a Cherry Orchard, take what Nathan Collins has done. He went from a nipper at Cherry Orchard, 6 years of age, to captain his country and playing the Premiership, with nothing got to do with League of Ireland. And League of Ireland will make, I think, players better. So that is an improvement. I'm not taking that away from it, but do not forget the role that so many of these clubs are playing.
Yeah, I think just to echo the thing on these players when they were 6, 7, 8, and the grassroots football, I always thought the FAI got a raw deal. Now, I'm not their greatest fans, and when Mark Canham came out with this Pathways project, he did not highlight the biggest problem with football in this country, and it's the competition that we have from the RFU, the rugby and the Gaelic. The rugby and the Gaelic are unbelievable at bringing the kids in at 5, 6, 7 and 8, and once they're in their ecosystem, they very rarely leave it. So there could be a load of unbelievable footballers that we've lost to Gaelic and rugby throughout the years. And obviously now we're talking about these players that stuck it out. But that was the big thing that was missing. He didn't understand his competition. He rolled out a pathways from 12 right through. You're kind of losing a lot of the best players from 6 to 12. And that's one thing they have to focus on. Just on the facility side of it as well. I have to say, in the northwest of Ireland, and Inishowen, Donegal and Derry, the facilities which the FAI have given grants to are incredible. So the FAI have to take a wee bit of credit for that, because I always thought, even when I was growing up, they did concentrate on grassroots away from the League of Ireland. And now we're getting the government funding for the League of Ireland. It'd be nice to get some more now for the grassroots football. But I mean, unbelievable from the League of Ireland players playing the other night. Incredible.
Yeah, and actually, just to because you're on about the Northwest and Donegal, arguably your most famous son, maybe along with Shay Given and Packy Bonner, but Sheamus Coleman is an amazing and brilliant and just great to see the love that Sheamus Coleman has been getting over the last 2 transfer windows. Look, Hamer Holgrim's made a mistake not including him in the first international squad for this World Cup campaign. But I was just wondering, Gareth, you were still playing when Coleman broke onto the scene with Sligo Rovers. Do you remember coming up against him at all?
I used to just remember, just when he ran past me, I used to say, someone else can deal with him, because he was rapid. What a player. At that stage of game, we were all pretty young. You knew he was a good player, but you didn't realise his potential. Somebody else obviously did. I think it was Paul Cook at the time, did the transfer over to Everton, and then it's just gone from strength to strength. But, I mean, you just look at him, right? And if you didn't know anything about Ireland or football, you look at his reaction, the player's reaction when things go well, when the goal goes in, the way he goes to the crowd first rather than the players and the management team. And I mean, for him not to be involved in the first 2 games was criminal. I don't know whether it wasn't communicated properly to the manager how important he was for the group. And that's not to forget John Egan as well. You hear all the players talking about how important it is, John Egan getting in around the squad. But I mean, Sheamus Coleman, what a career. When he speaks, everybody listens. And I can't wait to see, hopefully we get to the World Cup. Imagine if he was to get and play in another World Cup. But not only that, the what he has to do after that as well, where he stays about the group, whether he goes into management, coaching, whatever it may be. We need to keep boys like Sheamus Coleman about.
Yeah,
and by the way, Steve, I played against Sheamus as well. So
yeah, well, you were too slow. If Gareth was too slow to catch him.
Just to be clear, just to be clear.
Come here, but like seriously, what was it that? Can you remember, Vinny? What stood out about Coleman at the time?
No, I don't. I mean, I think when he went to Everton, you said, "Oh, that you felt he had a chance." I think you'd be foolish to say you felt he was going to have like an absolutely outstanding career, become he's so highly regarded in Everton as well. I don't think you would have seen that coming. But I suppose the biggest sort of thing he had going from was his ability to fight and get stuck in, and the mentality of the lad was there from early doors, like tackles, winning little bits and pieces, moments. So I think when you carry that across, that makes a big difference, you know.
I love this. Gareth McGlynn has given us like a Danny Dyer style. Remember those Danny Dyer programs about the football hooligans? I made nan at the park and I'm absolutely shit myself. Anyway, we should crack on. Fair play, Gareth.
I tell you, just Evo on Sheamus Coleman, right? It's interesting, right? See, his tenacity was the big thing for me. He never let it go. When you got past him or a couple of players or something didn't go as well, and it's a perfect example of he wouldn't have been the most talented player, even in that Sligo squad that he played in during that time. But it was just his resilience was unbelievable. So it just shows you can have all the talent in the world, but see if you don't have it between the ears, you may forget about it. You've no chance.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And just quickly, I'd like to finish on the 17s, lads, because you know you're dealing with players who are currently at League of Ireland clubs. You had Alex Noonan, Corey Sheridan, the goalkeepers involved. Noonan becoming a hero in the penalty shootout. You had Wexford's Ryan Butler, Josh Cullen of Finn Harps as well, Vinnie Leonard from Dundalk, Sean Spate from Dundalk. Then another Rovers man in Victor Ozyman Vuna. We all know all about him. Goodnasok Bonnet from UCD. And then in the forwards you had Shamrock Rovers duo Max Kovalevskis, Michael Noonan, Brodie Lee from Cork City, Gavin McAteer, Finn Harps. Great representation there, Vinny, in the under-17s, which, as I think Colin rightly said after they were knocked out, they did their flag proud, I think was the words he used.
Yeah, it was a wonderful journey, and so many people joined in on it. I think, obviously, I think to be fair to Noonan, I think he was the standout sort of performer for them, wasn't he? In terms of, and it shows you the value of that first team experience he got. But to be fair, the team, I think the team sort of represents. If you know Collie O'Brien and you played against them, you spoke to him, you worked with him, different bits and pieces. I think that the team was sort of very much a symbol of him. The way they conducted themselves, the way they spoke, the way they behaved on the pitch and all. They're just a credit to the country. And as I said, the big standout for me was Noonan. That's a really interesting one. It's funny. It's funny. I watched them play against Pats recently, and I compared him to Mason Melia unfairly on him because Mason is a little bit further down the road. And what I would say about Noonan is I think Mason at the moment is more rounded and more complete, obviously, as a footballer. And Michael is a bit rougher around the edges and a little bit raw. But he has got attributes that are nearly better than Mason. So I think he's going to be not a late developer. I mean, he's so young and playing first team football. But he's going to be, I think, technically so much to improve. He's at the right club. I think he's just a little bit raw. I think he could be really, really exciting. And I wasn't sure. I was going, is he just a League of Ireland player? Can he get away? I think he can, but he's a lot to improve on. He's at the right club. And I hope he got huge confidence out of that tournament because, I mean, he's on the world stage for his age group and he looked a cut above most people there. So, huge credit to him.
Yeah, there's talk of Michael Noonan being scouted by Everton and Manchester United at that tournament. Gareth, he does need, though, a bit more experience playing men's football with Shamrock Rovers, and also more crucially, I think, before going overseas, he's got to get experience playing European football.
Yeah, I mean, we've debated this a couple of times. People are saying, it's good for them to go over and get the experience and the kind of how they get looked after. I believe that the experience he'll get in League of Ireland playing men's football is proven to evident. And even if you look at, and I think Michael Noonan, he will go on, and whether it's Manchester United, Everton, wherever it go, I think he'll step up and he should step up as well. Remember, he's got European experience. He's been playing against men now for a full year. But I think the big thing, right, and Vinny touched on it, you look at McAteer up at Finn Harps as well, and the Finn Harps players. I think the FAI have got a massive problem in getting the League Cup back in again. That is the only time that the young players, when managers under so much pressure, the young players are getting first team experience. And with all these players that are under 17 that have got League of Ireland, Premier Division or First Division experience, I think without the League Cup, you're hindering their opportunity for men's football. And I think it's one thing that the FAI have to look at. Whether it's next year or the year after, they have to bring it back again to give these people an opportunity. Because
I think they have the trophy still here, Gareth, if you want it. still reigning champion.
You are. You're nodding in agreement, though, Vinny, with that, yeah?
No, it's huge. And I think there's two sides. There's some managers, believe it or not, Stephen. So, late inside the manager's head, imagine being on a bad run and a tricky League Cup game comes. So, how do you even take the pressure off the manager and actually turn it into a positive by saying, in that game, 6 players must start that are from under 21 years of age, for example. So that means it's not really a first team game from a pressure point of view, for the manager or terms of results and different things. And also, it's forcing the manager to give maybe his under 19 team or that team, half of them will start and the other half will be on the bench, and 5 or 6 first team players that need a game. So it's almost taking the pressure off it a little bit. And then you could say once we get to the final, all bets are off, for argument's sake. It's still a trophy. So I think there's a couple of little things like that you could easily do. But it's always been a great tournament. It can be a headache at different stages. Remember having, like, particularly for, say, if Rovers are going for a league, you have Europe, you have FAI Cup, all roll into one, and then all of a sudden you have a semi-final and a final of that taking over a league game. But you know what? Ask any player, there are headaches you want. And Gareth will tell you there's a very famous song that the Derry fans sing to celebrate. Have you ever won the treble?
Yeah.
No, you
absolutely.
haven't.
Indeed. Well, listen, it was a great week. Sorry, go on, Gareth. Yeah.
I didn't get creative with that. If you look at the Irish League up north, they've got really creative. They've gone to kind of give it a wee bit more of an appeal. They've gone, whoever wins the League Cup goes into a playoff for the last Conference League position. So they've put a wee bit more spice into the League Cup. Maybe the League of Ireland and the FAI can look into something like that as well, rather than it be a complete dismissive just for young players to get experience. So you can get creative with it. And again, with Vinny's idea of playing so many under 21 players, there's a solution there. And the whole idea of like, oh, there's too many fixtures. They've proven that last year when they front loaded the league with so many games. I've never seen as many games last year before the break. So there's room there. You can push a couple of those games to later on in the league campaign when teams weren't even playing.
Lads, moving on to we haven't spoken since the cup final, so I might get your thoughts, Vinny, your considered thoughts on the FAI Cup final. Obviously, Rovers winning to complete the League and Cup double. Cork City, of course, having a red card in the game. Disappointing, I'm sure, for Cork City supporters. Maybe went more in hope than in expectation in that FAI Cup final in the end. But on your own reflections, what were your thoughts on the day?
I just felt the sending off was game changing. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that Cork were going to go on and win it, but they were absolutely in the game. They were in the game for a long period, and not just from a hanging on point of view. You felt there was something there for them if you just dig in a little bit longer. And as I said, it's funny. I think it was such a bad challenge, right? That it's very easy to have a right go at the player. And you sort of big boy football, you have to have a go off, don't get me wrong. But actually, I don't know what Garrett's view is, and it's definite red, not even an argument. Actually,
yeah, sorry, I should say it was Harry Nevin, of course, who got the red card for that tackle, and Josh Honan.
But it was the point about the referee should be made as well. He was excellent on the day, right? So I think fair due when they're excellent. But the point about the red card was, I don't know Garrett's view on it, almost as a player or an ex-player, like it's the difference with his foot being straight and sideways was huge. If he had a side foot, it was almost like a block challenge, and he just got caught a quick second decision, and ultimately, I don't want to say it cost Cork the cup final, but it took away the chance of winning the cup final, it must be said. And credit to Rory Gaffney. I mean, he was icing on the cake for what he's done. He's been outstanding for such a long period for Shamrock Rovers, and it was Rovers. Rovers do that a lot. People don't see it. Gaffney down that left-hand channel, a lot of long balls down there, not afraid to do it. And when he gets at you, he's a handful for everybody at such a young age, obviously. And I'll tell you what, when he gets at you, he can hurt you.
Yeah. The Paul Norton, of course, was the referee on the day. Vinny said compliments to him. But Gareth, your own thoughts on the cup final?
Yeah, it's amazing. Gaffney, right for an hour, was making those runs. And Shamrock Rovers were trying to get him. I feel he was very quick in defence, and he was getting to them. And then he just got away twice. And his finish for the second one when he puts it through the goalkeeper's leg, unbelievable. Listen, the send off is a red card. We're not going to Harry Nevin, I'm sure, is feeling devastated by it still. Got it right. No need to do it. Probably his lack of game time up until the final probably played a part in it. I mean, it was pretty evident that Josh Honan wasn't even looking at the ball. Josh Honan was that confident that he was going to get to the ball first. He was actually looking to see where he was going to play it. And Nevin has obviously thought that he could get there, and he was never getting there. And he's mistimed it. Good decision by the referee. But Cork City were very good in the first 20-25 minutes, I thought. Very, very good. They looked solid. Hit them on the counter-attack, tested the keeper a couple of times. McGinty he made an unbelievable save down to his right when it came through a show of bodies. It was unbelievable. But then the game changed, and Shamrock Rovers weren't at their best on the day. Like, if you ask Stephen Bradley and some of the players, they were just highly professional. And the two players that didn't travel to Athens for the European game were the difference makers. Josh Honan on the left-hand side was the biggest threat all night. He was brilliant, although carrying a knock as well. He was very good on the left. And then, of course, Gaffney getting the 2 goals. So great player management by Stephen Bradley. Again, he took sacrifices early on, probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, to concentrate in this cup. You take sacrifices for the greater cause, and you end up getting the greater cause. So unbelievable credit to Stephen Bradley and the Rovers team.
Hey, Gareth, do you think we see Josh Honan again next season for Rovers?
He's the only League of Ireland player currently that I think can step across the water and get a good career out of it. He is physically, you want to see him. I met him in the hotel before the game, and I'm not messing with you. He's bigger in person than he is on the pitch. He's a monster. He's quick. And it's his mindset. We talked about Sheamus Coleman. Josh Honan has got that growth mindset of, I want to learn every day. I'm going to absorb this and I'm going to get better. And he's got better. He's coming from Cork, where he was a steady right back. Attacking.
He played on the left of that back three. I remember the start of the season a couple of years ago. So, like, he's played left, centre back, wing back, full back. Like, where would you see him, Gareth, playing if you went across the channel?
Well, that's the beauty of him. He can play in a number of positions. I don't know about left wing back over across the water again. I'm not too sure. But he can play in a number of positions, and it's his durability as well. We always talk about it, and if you speak to scouts, and Vinny would know this better, they always talk about recommending a player across the water. They've got to be durable. They've got to be able to play Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Monday, whatever it may be. And he's got it physically. Never really injured. He played the final injured, like he had a knock. There's no doubt about it. But you wouldn't have noticed it.
The challenge is, Steve, with Josh, is that, and so many players go across and move up levels, is what is his level over there? And like, you could comfortably earn 4,000 or 5,000 euros a week at a high-end League One. The challenge is he a championship player? We don't know. Because that's just a level. Like, the championship is one of the top 10, definitely in the top 15 leagues in the world, if not higher. So it depends what is his level. Is he a League One player, high-end League One player? I don't know until you see him tested. And like Gareth says, like, and you know this better than the two of us, Steve, what are they doing in the Championship League One? It's every 3 days, isn't it? It's like every 3.5 days, boom, boom, boom. You're demanded. Can't make mistakes.
Well,
like, 3 points is crucial.
let me just shoot for the stars here, Vinny. And like, this guy has been on the go, like the rest of the Shamrock Rovers squad, for the full year. He's been called up to the international squad. Obviously, still waiting for his first cap. I don't think that's going to be too far away. Like, when you think of some of the fullbacks you see playing the Premier League, you know, like, could he get up to that standard? Like, he's
not
pace.
quick enough at the highest level.
He's got pace now.
Well, funny boys, the only way that you can kind of compare that, do you remember Stamford Bridge when Shamrock Rovers went to Stamford Bridge? Yeah. Mulwecki was playing on the right-hand side for Chelsea at the time. He's since gone to Arsenal. Mulwecki never kicked the ball for 90 minutes. Josh Honan was marking him, and he marked him out of the pitch, and he actually got him going the other way. That to me was the test for him. And how he didn't get a move after that, or there wasn't more interested, was baffling to me. And he is quick enough, and
No, my point about the Premiership is, it's like, the pace is electric. When you're at it, when you see it live. Steve goes to a lot of games well live. It's you don't realise how quick it is. That's the only concern. Look, I don't know is the honest answer. Like, here, go back to I watched Ireland game the other day, and you look at the Liverpool left back, and he doesn't look like the guy that played for Bournemouth last year. So Kerkez was so poor, and so poor mentally. I think Josh has all them little advantages. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. I'd love to say, hand on heart, he's a championship player. We're going to find out. That's going to be tested over the next little while. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he's even beyond that, and he becomes the next, I don't know, Sheamus Coleman or whatever. Yeah.
I would liken him like to James McLean. Like James McLean will gladly admit when he was at Derry with me, like he was a talented player, but Patrick McElhinney was there. You Danny Lafferty was floating about there as a left back who played in the Premier League. I mean, James went over there, and I would say physically and mentally they're very alike, him and Josh. So
the only difference is, Gareth, the only difference is the Premier League back then, not to take anything away from James, the Premier League then and now, like, it is such an international league in the very highest level in the Premiership. I'm not sure that's Josh's. He won't go there automatically and play. Can he? It would have to be a stepping stone club, and that's the challenge. And he can make anybody can improve with the right.
Yeah, well, and I think Stephen Bradley even said, isn't he? He's one of those players that just you throw one challenge into him, he meets it, then you throw the next, and he keeps moving up and up and up. So I've got really high hopes for Josh Honan. Incredible stuff by him this season. Interesting, Gareth, Stephen Bradley after the cup final saying that there's no ceiling for Shamrock Rovers. He talked about doing the double again. He talked about qualifying for the group stage of the Europa League, not the Conference League. And there's always this talk about Stephen Bradley. You know, should he go to England if there was an opportunity that came to him now that his his son Josh is fully cured, the family stuff and all that, he might be able to handle it a bit better. You know, could he get the Ireland job maybe in a couple of years' time? But from what I heard from him in that press conference, he wants to do more, wants to achieve more with Shamrock Rovers.
It's ominous if you're another team listening to that, isn't it? No, and listen, we'll think about the advice that he's given young kids, that the experience that he went through as a player. He went to England far too early, and his advice would be to make sure you're right and you're ready. He obviously feels maybe the right opportunity hasn't come, or he's not ready himself, and he wants to do more with Shamrock Rovers. I mean, what he's done already in 5-6 years is incredible. I mean, if he was to go and qualify for the Europa League group stages and do well and win another double, I mean, you'd like to think that he would have the pick of a team. Too many times a team comes in from a player or a team comes in for a manager and they just jump at the first opportunity, and it's just not right. It sounds as if Stephen just is going to continue about his work, and if the right opportunity comes at the right time, then he'll consider it. But I mean, it's incredible what he's done. I mean, I don't think he gets enough plaudits for it, to be honest. When you think about winning all domestic trophies, as we talked about, nobody's done it since Derry, way back when. It's some achievement, and it's next year. And doing it again will be, Vinny knows what it's like trying to win a league again or win a cup again. It's not easy, so it's going to be difficult next year. Yeah,
isn't it funny as well? Vinny, I suppose the way the world works, because Shamrock Rovers also announcing during the week, it was about just less than a week ago, Robbie Hederman coming in as the new Chief Executive Officer, the man who scored the goal to send Rovers down to Division 1 many years ago, and now he's the CEO. Like, I don't know if you know Robbie well, Vinny, or what kind of things you're expecting from him at the club.
I think it needs to be a safe pair of hands, and there's a little bit of noise around the club still. That hasn't gone away. Some of the sort of people have moved on, but there's still
politics in the background.
There's still a bit of politics around the background that just needs to be sorted a little bit, and everyone try and get on the same page. And that won't be easy. I think a lot of bridges have been burned for different reasons. There's sort of definitely two fractions within the club, but I don't know enough about it. Shamrock Rovers look after their own business. They're very successful on and off the pitch. In one sense, it's an easy job that he's going into, but in another sense, it's a very difficult job for Rob. So, all you like to think is, clubs won't work at the very best. The managers work at the best when they're not working under a cloud. Bradzer has a lot of things. Bradzer's in a real position of strength. That doesn't give him the right to sort of walk all over certain sections of the club. I'm not suggesting for 1 second he is. I don't know the ins and outs of it. It has to be harmony from top to bottom of clubs for them to continue to grow and be successful. So, look, there's a lot of money being spent by Rovers, and therefore a lot of money has to come in. So a lot of that money has come in through, particularly this year, didn't come in last year, and other people have to sort of find ways of making money. So they all have to work together for that club to continue to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of everybody else, which they are at the moment. So I think it's good for people. People think over dominating is sort of a bad thing. I understand why they think that, but actually, a club in a position of strength and being willing to sort of develop young players, all of that stuff, will have a knock-on effect, and the quality they develop will roll into other clubs as time goes on. You look at, they're going to release, it looks like, a couple of players this year, and the players they're going to release are going to make some of their squads better.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, it's like in any sport, they said it for years about the Kilkenny hurling team, about the Dublin football team, Manchester United many years ago, and they were dominating the Premier League. It was always, what are we going to do with this team dominating? And it's all about raising the bar for the other teams to come up and meet us. And that's what Shamrock Rovers have been doing for the last 6 years. And as you say, Vinny, that will be interesting to see how that squad changes over the close season, because they do, of course, have a few players on the wrong side of 30 now. It'll be interesting to see how that works out over the end of over the close season. Gareth, just to quickly touch on Cork City, obviously gone down after that cup final defeat into the First Division. I haven't heard anything other than Jernash or anything about him moving on or anything like that, so you'd assume he's going to be there next season. Is he going to bring them straight back up?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at the semi-final performance and even the performances before that, I thought they were very good. I think the evolution since Jernash has come in, and obviously David Myler helping him, has been a positive. We talk about a growth mindset. He came in, he was more of an academy manager where he was splitting the centre halves and putting the fullbacks high and playing through the six. That wasn't what was happening in the last 5 or 6 games. They were highly effective. They were really aggressive and they were very direct, especially in the semi-final. And to be honest with you, on the counter-attack against Shamrock Rovers, they were really aggressive with straight-line runners, got shots off and got chances. I mean, Shawnee Maguire's going to hopefully be there. Keaton's going to be there. There'll be a few others that'll be staying. There's a good young group there. And when you listen to Jer Nash, we did the interview during the game, or sorry, before the game and after the game. He's really, really engaging and he's really clear and concise in his messaging. So the young players will just lap that up. So I expect them to come straight back up again. I mean, Cork, we see the academy doing good things down there. We know they've got a good following. Maybe there's a wee bit of mending of relationships between the owner and the fans. But like Derry, when they went down all those years ago in 2010, when you're winning every week, it's amazing the amount of people that come and follow you and get behind the team. So I expect good attendances next year in the First Division, and with a quality Cork have, I expect them to bounce back up.
Vinny, quick word on we're coming towards the end. John Daly installed as the new head coach of Waterford, formerly, of course, of St Patrick's Athletic and Dundalk. The Dundalk spell didn't go too well for him. Obviously, they went down, and listen, you couldn't put totally all of that blame on John Daly for that at all. The club was in a mess at the time. Won the cup at St Patrick's Athletic, had a decent record there in the league, but those opening 7 defeats in the first half of the 2023 season, or was it 24, they decided to let him go. What's your thoughts on him taking the Waterford gig?
I think it's a really good appointment. I think also the fact with his experience of working at a really high level in Scotland, at Hearts, he was Craig Levine's assistant, for argument's sake. I think that understanding of how people and the mindset of the people that own the club at Fleetwood, I think his understanding of our league, between his work at Galway, Hearts and obviously Dundalk, means there's not as much learning from, say, if they had brought someone in from the outside. I think appointing people from within our league is a much safer bet for certain clubs. Doesn't mean you have to do it all the time, or someone from the outside the league can't be very, very good in it. So I think Waterford made a really good appointment. John's a good fella. He knows the game really well. I think he can get players to play for him. And I think it's a really good appointment by Waterford. And it's the sort of safe pair of hands they need heading into next season. It was a little bit too close for comfort last season. I think they'll be better as a result of John Daly going in. And I expect them to be a lot more comfortable when it comes to staying up next year. So really good appointment by the lads in Fleetwood and ultimately Waterford.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, thanks a million for that, Vinny and Gareth, both of you. Thanks for your contributions this season. It's been absolutely brilliant. One of the most enjoyable seasons, I have to say, because we, of course, brought you all the live and exclusive commentaries across the year for the first time, first full season on Off the Ball and News Talk. We'll have lots and lots more of it next year. I have to say, as a fan, it's going to be nice to have a few stress-free Fridays over the next few weeks until February.
Hey, Steve, am I allowed to say this, or is it too corny? But hasn't Off the Ball and the wider media done a great job at League of Ireland as well? Like, credit where credit's due. I mean, it wasn't the most sexiest thing for a long time, but like our live commentaries have gone down really well. The amount of people that reach out to you say, I heard this, and not just that, it's covered like Saturday afternoon show, which is so popular. It's covered on there. It's covered midweek morning slots. It's great for the league, and sort of we need a hand in terms of for the media to play the part. The print media have always been really good to the league, but now that it's sort of, I mean, such a popular sort of show and stuff like Off the Ball is that it's brilliant, isn't it? That and it's needed, but also they've done it well as well, to be fair, with the exception of Garrett. The rest of us done a good job on it.
Well, it's nice of you to say, and we should mention as well, really quickly, of course, some of our colleagues across the papers as well, no longer covering the league anymore, and hopefully they're all going to get themselves sorted out, because they really are missed around the press box. They know who they are. But listen, lads, we've got to get out of here. Thanks a million. We will be back in a couple of months' time for the start of the new season.
Been emotional, Steve-O.
It surely has. See you
Cheers,
later,
man.
lads. Take care.